How do I make decisions so fast and move faster than the clock as a woman, wife, mother, eight-figure entrepreneur holding tens of thousands of students globally? Watch this to learn how. So, one of the concepts that have completely changed my life is this principle of Einstein time versus Newtonian time. We all know that the same 24 hours that everyone seems to have are perceived very differently depending on your state of consciousness, right? So yeah, technically it's the same 1 hour, but if you're doing something you dread, or if you're dysregulated, or you're having a bad day, you're in a certain state, that hour, depending on what you're doing, can seem like 10 hours. Or you can be completely regulated in a state of flow in your zone of genius, and that same hour, you could do more in that hour than most people could do in a year. We know this, we have done this as driven, high achieving, badass feminine women, right? And so anytime my mind starts playing tricks on me that there isn't enough time, I'm never gonna get this done on time, I wanna do this, but I don't have time, I start questioning my state. Hold on, am I dysregulated? I start doing the things that I've taught you guys in my 3-week nervous system reboot to say, hey, if I'm perceiving time in Newtonian time, that means I've fallen in the linear grid, which means I'm no longer in a state of flow, which means that everything from this point of view will seem hard. There will never be enough time. It will seem like I'm always falling behind. It would always seem like I can't get everything done. So in that state, it's not about clearing out my calendar. It's not about removing things. It's not about not taking on more projects. It's really about regulating myself and getting into a better state, right? Because if I'm in a better state, I can make better decisions. Because in a dysregulated state, I'm going to be perceiving reality in a certain way. I'm going to be looking at things that I actually enjoy doing from a lens of, I'm overwhelmed, I can't figure this out, there's not enough time. But if I regulate and I get back into my flow states, I get back into my highest alignment, I'm in Einstein time, from there, linear time does not apply to me anymore. From there, I can do more in 1 hour than most people can do in a year, because I'm in my flow, I'm connected to my highest source, and time is now moving very differently for me. So that is like my number one secret. When I have clients that say, I'm overwhelmed, I don't have enough time, I feel like I'm always behind, I can't get it all done, how are you managing all of this, being a mom, wife, all the things, I already know that it's not necessarily about how they're managing their time, it's about how they're managing their state. Because if you can learn to manage your state, time will move very differently for you. This is why when we see certain people, whether it's men or women, we see them doing a lot, achieving a lot, we instantly might start making judgments on, oh, they must be hustling, they must be burning out, or they're about to burn out, or they're on the verge of burnout, or I can't do that because I don't want to burn out. Yes, when you're dysregulated and you move and do anything, you will burn out. Because it is your state creating the burnout, not the activity that you're doing. There are people that sit down all day thinking thoughts that dysregulate them. They haven't even done anything and they're burnt out. It is their own thoughts that's burning them out. We know that the brain is like less than 2%, I think. Well, what the number is, I taught this in one of my courses. I can't remember right now. I think it was in Manifest. The brain is like less than 2% of the weight of the body, but takes over 25% of the calories. So you exhaust yourself just from the thinking, not from the doing. However, when you're like really regulated, like again, looking at those people that are like doing a lot, they're not hustling. They might be completely relaxed and regulated, and they're just appearing to do way more than you can even imagine. They appear almost superhuman to you, is because they're in a state of flow. Versus someone just sitting on their couch all day thinking negative thoughts that bring up all kinds of stuff in them, that exhaust them, over functioning in their brain, living too heavily in the mental plane. That person could be hustling and you think they're resting. Rest is a state. I work from a relaxed state. I work from a rested state, and I can go fast. I can make decisions supersonic speeds, like my son likes to say. But when I'm not relaxed, meaning when I'm dysregulated, when I'm not in the right state, all of a sudden, simple decisions will seem really hard to me. I was talking with the girls. Today was day 2 of Lady Balls. Fire, by the way. If you haven't signed up, you need to be there. The recordings are just as potent. You can sign up via just a ticket for Lady Balls, or you can go through the secret back door, which is 99 Realm membership. It is so good. We were talking in there where when we are not in the right state, even powerful, badass women like us, we go into being uncertain. And when we're uncertain, we'll go and like start asking other people for advice that don't even know anything about what we're doing. And we're like putting our power in their hands, and then they mean well and they're trying to help us, but they actually confuse us even more because maybe they don't own an 8-figure brand like you do, right? Maybe they're not a mom like you are. Maybe they're not even a woman. Like I'll go to my husband and start asking questions about stuff that like he can't help me with that stuff. But what I really need to do in that moment is like change my state. And that is going to be the secret sauce to your success. Because I'm like tired of seeing people sitting around all day, not doing anything with their life, not living at their full potential, judging the people that are creating amazing things on the planet as like, oh, they're hustling. No, babe, you are hustling because you're sitting all day thinking thoughts about how hard something is. Should I do this or that? Maybe after I do inner work, maybe I have to do this. Maybe let me check my astrology. Let me check my human design. All of these things are useful. I use human design, astrology. Like I like that stuff. However, none of that stuff is ever going to be the reason for me not creating the thing that God put me on this planet to create. So instead of thinking you need to figure it all out, what's your state right now? And I actually give you my entire framework of how I work through this in Lady Balls. So if you need help with that, I would say if you were to take the 3-week nervous system reboot and pair it with the Lady Balls intensive, that would give you all the inner work for 2025 to get into perfect certainty, get into the right state so that time behaves differently for you. You perceive the things you're doing differently and you're working from a relaxed state. You're not needing to like sit and do nothing. Like, you know what's exhausting for me? You know what will burn me out faster than anything else? Sitting and thinking about what I need to be doing and not actually doing it. Because that is going to consume so much of actual like calories and energy and put me in a state of confusion versus using the energy that God allocates. Like we know when we have an idea, there's a certain level of energy allocated to that. And if you're just sitting, instead of using that energy to take action, you're actually making yourself sick. You're actually like down regulating your brain. That's what exhausts you. Like if you watch 2 moms and one's like, oh, I do have to do laundry today, but then I also need to make a video and oh, I gotta go pick up the kids from school. She's gonna seem so much more exhausted and tired from that little bit she's doing than the mom who just goes and does it. Throws the laundry in there, goes and makes the video, goes and picks up the kids. Because she didn't use all of this unnecessary energy thinking about all the stuff that she has to do. She just did it. Now, I know what you must be thinking. You must be thinking, but Mina, what if I'm like actually experiencing burnout in my life? What if I'm actually exhausted? Trust me, babe, I have been there. I shared that entire journey in the early stages of my YouTube career where I was, I used to be a single mom. You guys know I got married to Irfan and he retired me from my real estate career. And I took like 9 years of like healing myself, childhood trauma, like a whole bunch of stuff. So I had an autoimmune disease that manifested from that burnout era. I get it, right? When I look back into my life and with everything that I know now, being a triple certified, almost 4 times certified life coach and healer and teacher and all the things, is that I was burnt out because of the state that I was in, the thoughts that I was thinking, the feelings that those thoughts were bringing up versus what I was actually doing. Because here's the thing, I do more now. I do more now. I create more now. I hold more now than what that 20-year-old, like the woman version of me that was in her 20s could hold. But I function very differently in that state, right? Like I am not thinking negative thoughts. I'm not like ruminating on things. I'm not thinking about how hard life is. Now it's all from that creative force. So here is what I would say to people who are currently burnt out, is that when you are resting, if you're not actually resting your brain, you're always going to feel tired. Like you could be laying down, you could be sitting, you could be laying on a beach and not feel rested because of the thoughts that you're thinking and the state that those thoughts are actually putting you in. I talk about this a lot in Lady Balls again, if you need support around this. It's the state that is making that. And so when you are needing rest, because there are, you might be in a phase or a season of life where you're like, no, I need to really like heal from everything that I've been through. You want to do things for rest that actually fill you up. A lot of times when we think about rest and a lot of different things, we tend to think of them the way we've been told, which typically is a very like masculine paradigm. And as much as I love masculine energy and even masculine energy within me as a woman, I know that as a feminine essence being, I need self-care and rest that will fill me up. But a lot of things that we are told to do are things that will empty us out. The masculine empties out. This is actually very clearly, like God was like, let's make it super clear with how I create man and woman and masculine and feminine energies of who needs what. So typically masculine energy identified men, they empty out. This is why they will like zone out in front of the TV. This is why they will play video games to like empty out their consciousness. That is self-care for men, emptying out. It's represented in their sexual energy. They empty out, right? Well, feminine essence being, we fill up. So I've had clients like CEOs, brilliant teachers, lawyers, doctors, like brilliant women that were like showing up exhausted on coaching calls. And like, I remember this one particular client that showed up on a Monday and she was like, Mina, I am exhausted. I'm like, it's Monday. What did you do this weekend? You had the weekend off. And she was like, well, I rested. I'm like, you rested and you're exhausted on Monday. And she was like, yeah. I was like, tell me everything you did on Saturday and Sunday. And everything she listed out were all typical masculine self-care, resting, emptying out things that actually depleted her even further. And now, even before she's had a full day of work and she was calling me during her lunch session, her lunch period, she's already exhausted. So I'm like, babe, you didn't rest. You did not rest this weekend. You thought you were resting, like sitting on the couch and watching TV. That looks like rest. That is not resting to the feminine soul. You did not do anything this weekend that fills you up, that lights you up, that nourishes your soul as a feminine essence being. And once we got her doing those things, her relationship with her body, with her work, with her schedule, with her time started shifting. We started getting her in Einstein time versus Newtonian time, where it's like she's like going through the motions of the day, and it looks like she's doing self-care and it looks like she's resting, but actually there's no rest happening inside of her. There's no self-care happening inside of her. And so we've been convinced that like maintenance appointments, and hey girl, I love getting my nails done. Like I love getting my hair done. Is it really rest though? Is it self-care? Well, that would depend on the state that Mina goes. If Mina goes in a certain state to get her nails done, then it could qualify as self-care. It fills me up. But if the other Mina shows up in the state where she's not really in Einstein time, then actually she's gonna be like, oh, I have to get my nails done today. It's just another item on my to-do list that I need to cross off so I can look presentable for YouTube. Those are two very different states. I get to go get my nails done and it's gonna be so fun and it's gonna fill me up, versus, oh my goodness, my nails look awful, I gotta go get my nails done, otherwise I can't make YouTube videos. And so we really want, this is where the inner work, the self-awareness, this is why we do inner work. This is why we do it, because it changes our state, it changes our awareness, it changes how we interact. Unfortunately, I see a lot of women right now hiding from life. Children will be hard. From which state? So I'm not gonna have kids, right? Getting married is gonna be so difficult. Dating is so hard. From which state? So instead of saying, hey, let me change my state by doing inner work, you're saying, actually, let me just remove anything from my life that seems even remotely difficult, or like remotely requires capacity or challenges me from my life, and just sit in my little comfy little bubble over here. As I talked about on my last video, which I'll link up here for you guys, is that a lot of people are trying to protect their lifestyle over actually living their best life. And I get it. The current lifestyle you have may have required a lot for you to get here, girl. I get it. I get it. For you to feel like base level safety may have taken so much out of you that you're like, anything else will just, oh my God, I don't even have anything to give. But here's the thing. If you're in that depleted state because you're constantly overthinking things and you're sidestepping your desires, you will remain depleted. You will. And it's not about like, I just won't get married, I won't have kids, I'll just keep my life super small. You can be living under a rock and thinking yourself sick. That's the truth. And you know it. You know, because when we hear truth, our heart is like, oh my God, I'm resonating with this. Do a truth test. I shared with you my process in my Lady Balls book to do a truth test. Truth test everything I'm saying. You know that's actually your state that's making you question your desires. Whether it's to get married, have kids, be in your dream body, be in your dream house, get that job, start that business. It is your state that's ruining your life. So I invite you into doing actual serious inner work, not just pretending, not just hiding, not just consuming information, doing the work that's actually going to help you live your dream life. All right, babes, let me know your key takeaways. You know how it rolls. Give this a thumbs up. I love you so much, and I'll see you at the next one. Bye.